all over the world, and now they open the vault to show you millions of dollars in bling. Next on The Factor. This is The Factor, Uncensored. And welcome to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. It has been one crazy night here for The Factor, and we're going to tell you about that later in the program. Just know there are cops surrounding this whole building, and they're here for The Factor Uncensored. Because of that, we had to make some changes in the best interest and the safety of the public. But we have a wonderful lineup for you coming on the show today. We have Jermaine Dupri, rap music mogul, who will be joining us here live. We have The Hugh playing live on the show. Also, we have Lil Troy, wanna be a baller, shot caller, 20-inch. I don't know the rest, but we have a great show coming for you. But we're gonna kick it off with Angela Chin and the news.
I think you do know the rest, Isiah. You're just too shy, which is strange. It's not really Isiah. All right, our hot topics today are the top 3 news stories. This first one, we're going to take you all the way back 2 years ago in spring, one of the grisliest stories out of 2014. You may remember this one. This was the Stay family murders, Katie and Stephen Stay, 2 parents, 6 children. They were found tied up and shot execution style in the head. Well, the new thing today, prosecution confirmed that the suspect, he will face the death penalty when his trial begins in 2017. Now, a little bit on background here. This is July 10th, 2 years ago. Officers were called to their spring home after they had reports of shots fired inside. And that's where they found the parents and all 6 children tied up and shot in the head. Only one of their children, their 15-year-old daughter, survived. Now, the suspect is Ron Haskell. He was arrested after a standoff with police. He's accused of capital murder, and reports say he forced his way into the home dressed in a FedEx uniform, tied up the family, and that's when he gunned them down. Haskell was reportedly looking for the ex-wife who had left him after several incidents of domestic violence, and she was the sister of the homeowner. Well, guess what? In Texas, capital murder has an automatic sentence of either death or life in prison without parole. Prosecution obviously going for that death sentence, and of course they're not clarifying whether they're going for that insanity plea, although they do say he's had mental health issues and he was not on meds at the time of the murders.
Now, Angela, this was a story I struggled to remember, but then I realized I was actually out there covering it, and it was shocking at best.
And that shouldn't be a surprise. Every single day we cover stories upon stories, sometimes 3, 4 in one day, and
yeah,
so
absolutely.
Not surprised that you don't remember, but this one very grisly, obviously very hard.
And he's joining us live right now, Jermaine Dupri. First of all, what brings you to Houston, Texas? And thank you for coming on the Isiah Factor Uncensored.
I got a party tonight in Club Aura, and DJing there tonight, so I want everybody to come out. Have a good time, but yeah, that's why I'm here tonight.
Yeah. Good. Glad to have you on the Isiah Factor Uncensored. You have had a storied career where Grammy-winning, very successful. It's like you're in your second stage of your career now because you're doing more TV, producing more reality shows. So how did you make that transition from, and obviously you're still doing music, but how did you slide from strictly music to television?
Well, I mean, the TV shows are actually music TV shows, so it's still just all music. It's just something I think that people wanted to see me do for a long time. They didn't ever know what my process was of creating artists, and just TV just made itself available for me to show people exactly what I do with artists, basically.
And one of the things you had was a young girl from Houston who came on the Isiah Factor as well. Why is it so important for you to reach out and find and nurture that young talent out there in the community?
Well, it's important for everybody to do that, because what people don't realize is that all talent that they listen to today started at a young age. Beyonce started as a young kid in Destiny's Child. Justin Bieber, Usher, Chris Brown, Bow Wow. I mean, the list goes on and on. Everybody was young, and even the older artists, the Jacksons, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, everybody. It's all Britney Spears, NSYNC. I mean, whichever one is black or white. They all started at a young age, and people tend to forget that.
And you started at a young age as well. You ran a record label at a very young age.
Yeah, I mean, I started my label at 17, 18 with Chris Cross, which was young, but at the same time, I just believe that God put me here to be the person to continue what was supposed to be.
And as far as young artists, are you seeing the same drive, the same hunger that you had and others like Chris Cross had and the Brat had in coming up?
Somewhat. It's not the same as mine. I definitely will say that, but I'm definitely seeing it. I mean, like in Young Lyric, that's from here, that was on the Rap Game first season. I definitely see a lot of potential in her and a lot of drive, and she's out, she's doing stuff. That was one of the reasons why we picked her to be on the show.
And there's another show that you're on where the focus is on you, the light is on you. How is that having a camera around you 24 hours, not 24 hours, but for a sustained period of time, chronicling your life? Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. It's like I said, this is something that's been happening prior to, I guess, the hype of social media and TV at this point. So I used to do it on YouTube and show people behind the scenes. So I mean, it's better now just people can watch TV and watch it.
And have you embraced social media as well?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Make sure y'all hit me up on Jermaine Dupree on everything. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Snap Twitter, whatever they got. All that. Yeah.
Now tell us once again, what can people expect if they come out to Aura tonight to see you DJ there?
Good time. You know what I mean? Good time. A roller coaster of music. You know what I mean? I'm gonna play, a array of music depending on how the crowd act. I really pay attention to what the crowd is doing, and it's kind of like a show. But it's a good time. Just a good, a good DJ, good time.
All right. Jermaine Dupree, thank you for coming on the Isiah Factor Uncensored, and he'll be at Aura tonight, so make sure you check him out there. And as we leave you, here's the Hugh performing live here on the Factor Uncensored.
Red Hugh so divine. Next week, yellow number 9.
Strobe light regalment, announcement coming to the stage, fulfillment. Somebody, baby mama, baby daughter, about to party.
Baby, break it down, break it on down. Let me space you up, Mrs. Pretty Round Round. Let me take you to a place on the other side of sound. I can show you where to get the purple flowers by the pound. Pot of gold, maybe not, but I can show you rainbows. Baby, anything goes. You can be my sex shooter, even in your plain clothes. Show your jazz, show your blues, I can tell you.
And you're listening to the Hugh live here at Boudreaux's for the Isiah Factor Uncensored. We still have lots of more of the show to come your way, so make sure you stay with us. Now, one of the hot topics that we're having tonight is White Lives Matter, and they had a protest last Sunday here in the city of Houston. Here's Angela Chen with what happened out there that day.
Why were rights to victims of violence for a black officer shooting a black suspect?
On a Sunday morning, outside the NAACP in the 3rd Ward, about a dozen protesters gathered for a White Lives Matter rally.
We came out here specifically today to protest against the NAACP and their failure in speaking out against the atrocities that organizations like Black Lives Matter and other pro-black organizations have caused, the attack of and killing of white police officers.
Carrying the Confederate flag and guns, these protesters argued there was aggression toward white people and that it's time someone spoke up about it.
We are who we are, and we should look out for our own, and they should look out for theirs. The problem is the double standard involved. We can't do it without being labeled a hater or whatever.
And welcome back. And once again, we were going to have members of White Lives Matter on the show, along with Dr. Robert Muhammad and Kofi Taharka. But because we heard information that people, we don't know who, were expecting to bring guns here to the Isiah Factor Uncensored, we erred on the side of caution and decided to cancel that segment. So we decided to bring these ladies in, best friends, Angela Box and Jolanda Jones, and they're here to talk about White Lives Matter. But once again, many, they were supposed to be here on the Isiah Factor Uncensored, but because of safety concerns, we decided against it. And if you go outside of the restaurant, you'll see cops on every corner, and they're taking precautions as well. We want to thank them for coming out and providing security for Isiah Factor Uncensored. Now, to the issue at hand. Obviously, White Lives Matter. Do you have a problem with their protest in front of the NAACP last Sunday?
Well, first of all, I think the premise of White Lives Matter was trying to be absurd, to show the absurdity of Black Lives Matter. But the provocation of showing a Confederate flag, y'all ain't helping, okay? You're not helping. But I will say this, I didn't see any cops being threatened, I didn't see any Molotov cocktails, I didn't see any bricks being thrown, I didn't see any neighborhoods being burnt down, and any looting happening. The whole point of both of these movements is that it's so unproductive to get the races to actually, coexist, which was what we used to do.
Let's bring
I wish
hold on. Let Jolanda talk.
14 words. That's about protecting white children, which means that you're not protecting any other children. and the absurdity of White Lives Matter when the people that are getting killed are not white lives, they're black lives. And so there is absolutely a need for Black Lives Matter. It's a civil rights organization. There were 5 whole, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
Lead the fifth.
whole White Lives Matter. They came out there with Confederate flags. They support Donald Trump, who's like
Again,
a
the
blatant
provocation.
racist.
No, he's not.
In any case, wait, hold up.
Stay on
Okay, let's
topic.
You need to find you some.
Okay, Jolanda,
My point
let's
is,
hear
my
from
point-
Angela now because we're
Okay,
running out
go
of time. Go
ahead.
ahead, Angela.
Here's the problem with the Black Lives Matter movement. They don't want to talk about black on black crime. They don't want to talk about what's going on in
Not
Chicago.
talking about cop on
Wait,
black
one at a
crime.
time.
Okay,
one
so
at a time.
again,
And y'all's on black
One at a
crime.
time,
Alright,
Jolanda.
alright, stay on topic.
No one will
So,
understand.
I am on topic.
Again, I can roll my neck too, Jolanda.
I know you are.
So here's the thing. Okay, here's the
Okay,
thing.
look, I'll cancel the
Black-
segment too.
you know,
Again, I will
black
cancel
people are
it if you don't
more-
listen to each other one at a time. Now finish, and then we'll finish with
I
Jolanda.
do love Jolanda, but the fact of the matter is more white people are killed by police officers every year, and we need to get away from this constant racialization of everything. And unfortunately, Barack Obama has brought this hell to the entire country, and Black Lives Matter
Okay.
continues.
Okay,
Sure.
as a practical matter, that is the Republican talking point. Let's blame everything on President Obama. They were
No.
killing us before President Obama took office. They always killed us. And it is about time that we stand up, and that's exactly why this country isn't going to get better, and racial division is not going to be healed.
Well, you know-
because people come up here, and they don't have substance, and they say things that are
Okay.
not based in fact.
Okay, so-
Black Lives Matter.
Okay,
And it
so-
doesn't mean that your life does not matter,
again-
except for you haven't figured that out yet.
Okay, so again, the provocation,
10 seconds.
constant provocation is not helpful on any level. All lives matter, Jolanda, but see, Black Lives Matter don't want to talk about that because they are getting rich.
Because we are
Because they are getting
That's
rich
it.
off the backs of the
We'll be
black
back with more
community.
Isaiah
Thank
Factor.
you very
Let's
much.
hug it out. Let's hug it out.
Oh, look, girl, I brought. I'm getting.
Spent the whole week trying to turn white bread in a whole week. Don't know what you gon' eat. Gotta get the lettuce when you got vendettas over roast beef. Fight that beat, roll on his fight back. Butterflies get stuck up in his spot traps. Nice catch. If women don't believe
You're looking at The Hughes. You're listening to The Hughes here live at Isaiah Factor Uncensored. We want to thank them for coming in. We're here live at Boudreaux's, and it's time for Angela Box again. Outside the Box with Angela Box. Have you calmed down? It was pretty simple
Listen,
compared to the last
Listen,
time.
I told Jolanda, I said I brought some extra hair because I janked her hair. I love Jolanda, actually. She's awesome.
She will get up behind you. So.
she will jank a weave. Listen, I've had that experience. You know, Jolanda's on the HISD school board, and I used to be a teacher. And, you know, I want to take it a little bit different this week to talk to parents directly on how to make their child's teacher not hate them this year. Okay, so there are many things that that parents need to understand what teachers go through. Number one, big education is big business, okay? Every couple of years, we've got textbook companies and education companies and technology companies coming in and trying to jank with everybody's curriculum and saying this is the newer, better, faster thing, and so teachers have, so the districts go, okay, great, and they put this new curriculum in, and then teachers have to go get trained on it, and hundreds of hours of worthless professional development. So that's one thing teachers have to deal with. Another thing teachers have to deal with is that basic skills are now mocked. And you know, you go, oh, that's not true. It actually is. Because this concept of higher level thinking is being pushed. And you say, oh, higher level thinking is great. But children are not learning basic facts like math facts, parts of speech, reading patterns, spelling patterns. They're not learning it. So these children are getting pushed to higher levels that they're not ready for, and they're getting further and further behind. So teachers are constantly dealing with children who are not ready to go to the next grade. And don't even get me started on getting a kid retained, because it takes an act of Congress and a Bible's worth of documentation to get a kid retained. And then we come to the problem of discipline. Because the things that used to work, you know, a swat on the butt, corporal punishment, sitting a kid in a corner, writing lines, I will not do this, I will not do that, sitting a kid out from recess, oh no, you can't do that because that's going to hurt the little snowflakes.
But is it allowed in HISD at all? Corporal punishment?
No, absolutely
Okay.
no. And here's the problem. The little snowflakes, as I like to call them, they know exactly what teachers are allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. And so teachers are constantly having their one hand tied behind their back. And then they have administrators going, why can't you control your class? It's like, well, you don't give me any tools to actually control the class. And one kid can screw up the whole classroom. Now, I'm going to tell parents there's two parents you do not want to be. There is the helicopter parent and the uninvolved parent. Now, I will say this, just as most teachers are fantastic, most parents are great, but you got your exceptions, and the uninvolved parent is one of them. The uninvolved parent, she cannot be bothered. Her kid is an hour late to school every day because her alarm doesn't go off and she has to roll out of bed in her pajamas and drop her kid off to school. So her kid misses an hour of class every day. And normally, those children fall behind in test scores, daily work, and they're usually discipline problems. And then we have the helicopter parent who, they start off very helpful. They say, oh, whatever I can do, very cloying, over the top, artificial. But then it's going to turn into daily emails and calls and, oh, my child is being bullied. What are you doing for my child? And they demand, specialized notes every day for their child. Both types of parents make life hell for their teacher. I'm here for the teachers. I'm here for the teachers.
I can't believe. No racism.
Your teachers.
No racism? We'll be back with more Isiah.
Joanna brought that.
Uncensored.
Who do you trust? When the preacher and the devil rep together beyond V-line, watching as she shakes all that bass from her trouble. The rebels would cause all pause as applause drown out.
This new segment. And welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. We're talking all about the bling today, and we have two of the most prominent jewelers in the country. They have some of the biggest celebrity clients all over the country. Joining us now is King Johnny, also Iceman Nick. Welcome to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Also, you have your security behind you because we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in jewelry here. Now, first of all, King Johnny, how did you start in Houston, and how did you get to the level where people like Twista and Rick Ross and many of them are calling you Allen Iverson for jewelry?
Right. I started basically 18 years back at my first jewelry store. We did it for a lot of rappers, Houston rappers like Slim Thug, DJ Screw, Lil Flip, Mike Jones. That spreaded the word, and then we had like the international customers, like we had like Twister, and we had Rick Ross, Flow Rider. We made that piece for Flow Rider, and we had like all the athletes like Des Bryant, Steve Francis, Tracy McGrady. All of them started dealing with us.
Also, Iceman Nick, you recently had a crazy birthday party here in Houston, and you had a lot of celebrities there because you are a jeweler to the celebrities. So when you get that call, how do you decide what you're going to design for them, or you come to the table and you guys come up with a plan? How does that work?
It depends, sometimes it's like the clients, they come, they give us layout, like their record company or their logos they have, and we have our designers get on the computer, get a layout done and show it to them, approve it if they like it, and we move forward. Sometimes they come to us for a layout, or we give them we show them what we have done in the past, and they get some ideas out of that, and then we sit down and we come up with the design, and
Are you ever surprised at some of the celebrities who call you and say, hey Nick, I need this, and you're like, I can't believe I'm talking to this person?
It used to happen like 10 years ago, not no more. We used to.
It's regular business.
It's regular business.
King Johnny, you have some very expensive pieces here on the table. Once again, your security's behind you. There is a diamond-encrusted gold Jesus face.
Yes.
Tell me about that, and who's the client that bought that?
This one is it's an 18-karat Jesus face with 150 carats of diamonds. We made this for Flow Rider. He called us. He said he wanted the biggest Jesus ever made, and we came up with this design for him, and that's for Flow Rider. We made it, and it's one of a kind.
And what would be the price of something like that?
Something like that is like around $150,000.
$150,000. Now, Iceman, Nick, tell us about the iPod and who bought that. Which client bought that from you?
This is for rapper from Chicago, Twister. He's very famous. And like as you can see, the size of that iPod. We made this piece like 10 years ago when iPod just came out. So you see how big that is.
Yeah, that is a big iPod.
So he came up with the idea. He wanted an iPod like all with diamonds. Like he wanted to have it on a big chain, an iPod, and it actually works. You can put the iPod in the middle, and it'll work. You can listen to the music, and you still have your chain on the like.
What's the value of something like that, Nick?
This chain was at that time was 125 grand. This chain has 85 carats in diamonds, and the iPod has 60 carats in diamonds, and the piece by itself is like around $60,000.
Now, how does this work? Because obviously the entertainers had these things, but now you guys have it again. So how does that work, King Johnny?
Usually, like, the trends change, they want to trade it in for something else, so they send us the old jewelry and tell us, like, what is new in style, so we just take the scrap value of that and then make them something new, what they want for today, what is going on, like, this was 10 years back, it should be hot, now it's all Cuban chains, so they want to trade it for Cuban chains, Rolexes, and different kind of stuff.
Okay. King Johnny, Iceman, Nick, thank you guys for coming on the Isiah Factor Uncensored, and you can find you guys on the web. We'll leave you with the Hue here live at Boudreaux's. We'll be back.
Everybody raps and everybody got a track. 2, 6, made for you to rap about how you are rappity rap. The other rappers that rap.
The Fox 26. Back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. We're talking politics live here at Boudreaux's. Joining us now, Kathleen McKinley and Carmen Rowe. Now, it's been all about race when it comes to politics and the presidential election. Donald Trump, where do we stand with him and the alt-right?
Well, that's a new phrase for me. I don't know anyone who identifies that way. I know there's this bubble up of that, but I don't like the whole racist thing, them calling each other bigots, because I feel like Hillary, was the one who called young black men super predators, and Bill Clinton said Obama would have been bringing us coffee a few years ago to Ted Kennedy. So I don't think she's any less racist than Trump, but that's not saying much. So let's just stop talking about those kind of things because it diminishes real racism, and let's just talk about the issues.
Now, what about those things that the Clintons have said in the past? Should those things be addressed if Hillary Clinton will call Donald Trump a racist?
Absolutely. I mean, it's divisive, just like what she said. And alt, Republican, that's a term that means white supremacist. So while she's calling him a white supremacist, he's calling her racist. And it's divisive. This country needs to come together. It needs a leader that's going to bring everybody together in race issues, culture issues, and all the other issues that make us Americans. And so I think it's divisive and it's problematic.
Now, that is one of the biggest issues that we have in this country is race right now.
Right.
And one of the things you said, we should just stop talking about it. Do you mean in the presidential election, between those two, or race in general?
No, I don't think we should stop talking about it. I think we should stop calling each other racist. That's what I'm saying.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need to have a conversation about it and what it means and the things that are happening with Black Lives Matter and those things. I think those things need to be talked about. No, but let's just stop calling each other names and let's get to the issues. That's how I feel.
Are we sidelined by many of these issues when we're talking about race, when we're talking about emails? Because I talked to an average person who said, none of those things make a difference to me in my neighborhood, in my community. I want to know if I will have a job, if the economy will improve, if my husband who's been laid off will get a job now.
That's the biggest thing about this political race is that it's not about issues at all. It's about the people and them going back and forth to each other, calling each other names, calling each other out about different issues that have nothing to do with the issues facing this country. And we were talking about, I think it's been months since we've heard about real issues that impact this country. And so to talk about race, I mean, race is a real issue impacting this country. And we need a leader who's going to unify the country. And that's not what either one of these people are doing. And that's the problem.
I agree.
And so how do we get the candidates, Kathleen, to see that?
Oh my
or
God.
can we? Can we?
I don't know. In today's, the way things are, I'm not sure we can, sadly. We only have, not too long until November. So I think it's sad. I'm not sure how we're going to do it. I hope that we can find, at least leaders in the Senate or the House that can bring us together and talk about these kind of things.
Kathleen McKinley, Carmen Rowe, thank you guys for talking politics with us this week and enduring with us. Gangsters. We'll be back with more Isiah Factor Uncensored in just a moment. You're listening to The Hue.
Rock on, yeah. Space City, rock on, come on. Q-Tex, rock on.